Welcome to the City of Miramar's Business Connect, where we connect your business to what's important. I'm Johnny Douglas, your host. Today, our discussion will be, is your business purpose driven? Wow, great conversation. We have on our guest panelist today, Mr. Stephen Merrill. He is the founder of Purpose. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you for having me, Johnny. I'm excited for this.
We're excited you to be here. A company's purpose is bigger than the products, the services, technology, charismatic leadership, and team. It is an idea of who you are as a company and why you exist. Would that be correct, Stephen?
I would agree 100% with that, Johnny.
Right. I love this statement because it cuts to the core of what businesses should do. It's kind of like your capability statement.
Yes.
If I will.
Sure.
Well, Stephen, I'm not going to take any time up. I want to get right to this because I think this is a very worthwhile topic for our listeners and our viewers. I'd like for you to give us an overview of your business, of your company.
Sure. Absolutely. I'd be happy to, Johnny. Thank you. So as you said, thank you for that kind introduction. My name is Stephen Merrill, and I'm the founder of Purpose. And at Purpose, we work with companies to reduce the burnout of leadership teams and employees. And we do that by gaining clarity on what their purpose is first personally, outside of the office, outside of the corporation, get them clear on who they are, where they want to grow, and how that translates into the synergies of their professional work and how that's supported by the company overall. So that is really what we do.
That is so awesome. I appreciate that. With the word purpose is such a powerful word when it comes in the context of what we're talking about. Let me ask a question. Why did you start this company?
That's a great question. So I was actually working in the corporate field, and I was the director of an account management department. And so I had a team of 20 internal team members, and I was consulting with over 350 business owners. And I started to see some team members burning out, some getting disengaged, some even breaking down in tears, coming to me saying, Steve, I just got off this meeting and I don't know what to do. I'm so overwhelmed and I don't know how to move forward. And with some business owners, I would see them struggling or kind of unloading some mental baggage that they may have had. And I said, when I could start to connect with people at a much more personal level and just take things away from the business conversation, take things away from the metrics and the numbers and really get clear on just how are you doing? Where are you? How are you feeling that you're progressing in life? And just start to get personal. It would literally change the entire dynamic. So I'd have these one-on-one meetings with my team members and they would come back in to the office more engaged, more fulfilled. They were reminded of their purpose. They felt rejuvenated in what they were doing, and it skyrocketed performance. And so, 6 months before the pandemic, actually, my wife and I started Purpose to really serve. At that time, it was more individuals and people trying to gain clarity on what their next step was. And, throughout the pandemic, so many companies went remote and their team members were Zooming into meetings, but they were mentally checked out. They lost sight of what they were doing and why they were doing it. And when things got hard, why am I sticking in this just besides a paycheck? And so we are a B to E company, meaning business to employee, where we really want to go in and work very personally to help just people at a very personal level get back in touch with themselves and get back connected with who they are at their core, what they enjoy, what fulfills them, what excites them in life, and how they can find that synergy in their professional work. So that is why we started things.
Well, that's a good reason to start a business, a company like the one you have, who I've known you probably have great success with this. One of the things that you said that really struck a chord with me was the fact when I worked at another company, and I'll keep it nameless. One of the things that we battled with was getting every employee to come aboard with the idea of what the company was. What we call what is the Bionic Hook? And we most of the times they came up with things that were like cliche.
Yeah.
They really had no metrics or no meaning to the employee. Sure. It was just something. It's a difference. I found there's a difference in having an employee do what you say do, and to have them understanding why and the end result goal of what I'm doing, which is the purpose of why I'm doing this. Yeah. I can sell 10,000 mugs if you want me to sell them.
Sure.
But what is the purpose of the mug? What is the purpose of me being here? What impact at the end of the day am I making to the general population by selling 10,000 mugs.
Right.
It, it becomes less, it becomes less personal for you and more job.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a job. I go to work, I punch the clock, I come in, I come out, I don't take it home, I don't worry about it. It's a done deal.
Yep.
Instead of going home and coming back to the boardroom with your ideas, with your innovation. And that's when you know that you have a purpose and you understand the purpose. I love this. I love this so much. I could talk about it all day because, as I said to you before on another occasions, that I've been throwing this ideal around even here in the city of Miramar with some of the departments and some of the things that we're working with now, when you're setting up. Do you think it's a good ideal for businesses when they're setting up their business plan to clarify? In other words, when you set your business plan up, you set it up, your targeted audience, your percentages, you're going to put on your portfolio, what your trajectories of how much you're going to make, and this, you put all that in your business plan. But do you see that some people fail to put in the actual heartbeat of the company is the purpose?
Yes. So to your point, it's very real. It's very true. So to answer you directly, yes, I think it's essential for companies, even for an entrepreneur, someone starting off, to really have the purpose, not just in mind, but written down and as a core pillar of the company. Because one of the first things we'll do during our seminars is, we ask, okay, well, what's the purpose of your company? And a lot of CEOs with pride tell me what their mission statement is. But there's a big difference here, right? A mission statement is I can regurgitate that to you really quickly and tell you what we do and maybe have some passion behind it. But if I go and ask your newest employee and I ask him or her, what's the purpose of your company? And if they tell me, well, here's our mission statement. But if we try to dig deeper, peel back the layers, sometimes people aren't able to put a finger on, hey, this is really the overall purpose of us. Here's the impact we're having in our local community, in a company, statewide level, national, whatever it is, in their clients' lives. And so we have to create what we call a purposeful proclamation, meaning as a team, what do we create? What can we stand behind? What do we stand for? And how are we going to proclaim that every single day? And what does it mean to me? Because if I'm just a number in this company, like you're saying, I can sell a widget, but what does that mean to me? And, to your point, 80% of team members would leave their job tomorrow if they were simply paid more. So if they're just getting paid more and basing things off of a salaried incentive, then there's no connection, loyalty, or purpose in that company, or at least there hasn't been any alignment. And so to answer you very directly, yes, Johnny, I think it's a key staple of building a successful and purpose-oriented company is knowing what the purpose of is. Then especially with the workforce we have now is people want to know, why am I here? Why am I going to spend my time and energy? The average adult in their work life spends 90,000 hours at work. That's 1/3 of their life. So if you're spending your time somewhere that you don't care about, you're going to, after a while, change that. You're either going to get let go or you're going to leave on your own accord. So as a company, you need to have these pillars and people need to be aware of them and aligned with them. And that's how you'll be able to grow.
That's very well said. Very well said. I relate the purpose in your business to the concept that all creation was everything that was created with a purpose. Bees pollinate.
Yeah.
Trees cleans the air. Everything has a purpose, and everything that creates and that's created with longevity.
Yeah.
Stands on the purpose of why they're there.
Yes.
So for me, if you want your business to have longevity, there has to be a purpose and principle that drives your principles.
Of course.
That causes you to stand a longevity of a McDonald's has a purpose.
They do.
They have a purpose, I mean, and their purpose will outlive any building that they build or, any generation of people.
Yep.
We have babies who are born that can't even talk, knows the Gordon Archer.
Exactly.
They have a purpose, and their purpose is to make people feel good with what they eat.
Yes.
They have a purpose. The purpose is to have people enjoy food at a reasonable cost.
Right. And that's the thing, to your point, your purpose doesn't have to be an epiphany statement. It can be, which is great, but it can be very core, very essential. Like you're saying, like we bring happiness to our clients. Okay, well, what does that mean? If you define that a little bit more, if that's what people can bite into, that's what people can live with and work for every day. So you're exactly right.
Awesome, awesome. So let me ask this, what type of results are you having with your clients?
Yeah, so I appreciate you asking that. It's interesting. When we started Purpose, one of the first questions that I would get from business owners was, well, how am I going to see an increase in my productivity or my bottom line profitability by you guys coming in and helping my team get clear on who they are, where they are, and kind of these like intangible results? And it was a fair question. So, one of the things we've done, Johnny, is we've built out 40 different tools all in the areas of personal and professional development, because we don't say that we're life coaches, we're navigators here at Purpose. So we're here to equip you with the tools and guide you on your journey, whichever way that is. And so, what we do in terms of results, one of the companies we've been working with, they're a franchise, they have multiple locations, and we've been able to double their revenue due to the fact that their CEO from day one understood, hey, if I can help work and get my people really clear on what they're doing and what they care about and what additional support they need, then I know it'll have an increase in my bottom line. I'll be able to grow my company when my people are cared for. And he was exactly right. And so, being able to double the revenues there is great. And now those 3 locations are doing better than they have. Their people are more fulfilled, more engaged. And what we do is we track data points on every single person we work with. And that's not like a hidden thing. That's very well known. I'm going to ask you, Johnny, tell me the 6 areas of your life you want to optimize during our time together. And so that person will let me know. And then we're going to establish baseline metrics during our first meeting. And then every single time we meet, which is typically every other week, we're going to be taking data points. So that way I can see on the back end, okay, throughout our work together, how have your sales been? How's your fulfillment been? Has your burnout decreased? And I'm going to send them to you as the employee, as the person we're working with, so you can see your actual growth in our process. And as we know, as humans, we love progression. We love to see, where do we start? Are we either growing? Are we pulling back? Where are we? And so giving people the chance to actually see their progress in our program allows them, again, to see, man, like this is actually working for me. I'll go in and work even more, not just harder, but even more effectively, efficiently. Like you were saying, I'll think outside of the box. I'll start problem solving. I'll take more of a leadership position now because I know this company actually cares because they've even invested in this. So it really comes down to, being able to increase profitabilities at the end of the day, but it has to start with caring about your people.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love the fact, because when people are purpose driven, they find themselves investing in that product, in that company.
Yep.
It's almost like a belief system.
Yeah.
It's almost like, not only do I sell this, but I actually believe in it.
Yes.
I actually live in this. I mean, this is the core of who I am.
Yeah.
7 days a week or 5 days a week, or this is who I am. I am this company. I bought into it because the purpose is so clear to me.
Yep.
I love that. I love how, now, do you see a dynamic when this happens in the company and they're coming to you? Do you see a dynamic shift, a pivot between management and employee?
100%. This is a great question. Absolutely. Because our whole goal is I want people to stop thinking of themselves as managers and much more as navigators. So a lot of times, and this is with all due respect, because I've been in this position as well, but when someone gets promoted, let's say, right, from a sales position to now a sales manager, now they have the badge of being a manager, but maybe that person's real love and passion is in sales. And that's why they were so good that they got promoted based on their numbers, but maybe that's not the ideal fit. So what we have to do is, in working with managers and leaders, it's getting clear on, hey, do you even want to be in a leadership position? For some and for most, it's yes, of course. That's why I worked hard. I saw myself growing here. Great. So where are you in your leadership ability? And what else can we do to help grow you in that? Because I believe it goes, Johnny, from we all start off in whatever field. And even as a parent, I'm a new parent, but even as a parent, I think we start off as an apprentice, meaning we're new to this, right? We've got to learn, and we have to have the mindset of being open to learn. So if I'm a brand new employee, a brand new parent, I'm an apprentice. Then the next step is you go from being an apprentice to a leader. So now you've gone through some repetition. Now you have experience under your belt. Now you've seen how things go and how to grow through them. And then you can become a mentor. So that's someone who's, in addition to a manager or a leader, this is someone who can put their hand out and say, hey, you're a brand new employee, or you're a leader right now. You want to keep growing in your your life personally and professionally, I've been through a lot of these stages and experience. I can help grow you into what's a navigator. And so that's the top level. So, to answer your question more directly, yes, there's a huge correlation, because when managers and employees realize, okay, we're all now aligned with our purpose in this company, and this company is showing that they care about us. Well, how can we collaborate more? Because employees at the end of the day, the majority aren't there just to not like their jobs. The majority are there to have a good fit with who they are and where their company aligns and what they're doing. And so if managers and employees realize we don't have to have such a tiered mentality, we can all collaborate together and work to achieve all of our goals, then things completely turn around in culture. So yes, once managers, leaders, employees, CEOs know their purpose, people come together so much faster because they want to work together. And one of the things we do is we create what we call purpose pods, which is when we group team members together and put them through scenarios. And maybe they've never worked together in that capacity. That's great. We're going to break down those limitations or those barriers that we have created. And we're going to see, okay, at the end of the day, we're all people. We're all going through this together. So how can we work to make this more effective?
That's awesome. I love this, Stephen. I love it. I'm loving your concept. As the more we talk, I'm loving it. I think corporations, from every down to mom and pops, down to our micro businesses, can use a concept as purpose to learn how to position my company.
Sure.
Not only for product success,
yeah,
but for sustainability success. There have been major companies who are no longer in existence anymore, because maybe their purpose was lost.
Yeah.
And maybe they couldn't find leverage, or they couldn't find any way to come back.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's easy for companies to write up a purpose, become a purpose-led company? Do you find that is it easy for them to do that, or do they really have to almost deprogram themselves and take a step back and really look at the core of it? How does that come about? Like when they're trying to develop this type of process?
Sure. So sometimes it's easier said than done, right? And other times it's very, very easy to align, because again, just like I was saying with employees and managers, the majority of business owners want to have a successful business, of course, but they want to have a fulfilling company. They want to have a culture where their people can grow, because that's why they started. They've typically come from an environment where they're like, hey, I learned so much, but now I can go and do this on my own, and I can create a culture that I wanted. So, it is, I've seen both sides of the spectrum where some people are closed off to it, but they still say, you know what, my team members need to find their purpose because I know it'll help them in one way or another. So really it just comes down to, we've just got to try the best we can to check our ego at the door, leave that aside and say, hey, where's your company right now? What are the goals that you actually have had for the company? And let's be really honest, where are we in that trajectory? And sometimes people are on their way, and that's great. This purpose conversation, the tools and the culture helps accelerate that. But at other times, companies are going backwards and they're saying, hey, I know that if I can retain my team members and if they know the purpose here, it should help us take the necessary steps forward. So it's, when we can have the conversation show that this is not just a motivation conversation, and that a purpose-driven culture is one that lasts and has longevity, most of the time, many business owners are open to it and they see the value because they know that they had a purpose in starting this. Sometimes it gets clouded through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, but at their core, they're still like, okay, you know what? Yes, that's very true. These are fundamental principles that I know I need or respect and align with. So it's usually a pretty straightforward conversation.
Awesome. That's good. Stephen, I'd like to ask another question is, why do you think burnout is so prevalent in corporate world today?
Sure. So, besides the whole most recent 24 months that we've all been through, a couple of years, right, with this pandemic, I believe the reason why it's most prevalent is that we are conditioned to believe that we need to be busy all the time. We need to be doing something all the time, Johnny. We have to have something on our calendar, or else we're not going to be successful. The company's going to fail. And so what that makes us do is start to react all the time. And so we put ourselves in what I call artificial stress, meaning I feel like all the time I need to be on a call with someone. I need to be in a meeting with someone. I need to be working on a report. And if I'm not, then I'm not being successful. I must not be doing my role correctly, or I must not be helping the companies in the way that I should. And that's not the case, because we can be very busy, but that doesn't mean we're being productive. So I think we've just been kind of grown up. And again, this is not to point the finger at anybody or anything, but I think we've been grown up and seen that we need to be working hard all the time or else we're not going to make it. And, it's not the case today, which is a blessing, but still we have to look on how to work smart and effectively and collaborate with others and then find joy in what we're doing. So often there are people who are billionaires, the most successful and celebrities and things, and they end up taking their own lives, which is horrible. But why is that? Because we're following success, the accolades, the awards, the external validation. But if internally we're not secure and confident and loving ourselves and we don't have fulfillment, it's never going to matter how much money we have. It's never going to matter who our friends are. It's never going to matter what car we drive. Because if we aren't actually filling up our own cup at a very personal level, and this is for someone in college, in high school, brand new employee, most senior executive and successful person, that we have to love and truly care about ourselves and know our purpose to even be able to help and serve anyone else. So I think people get burnt out because we've just been so far detached from connecting back with ourselves that it gets hard and we think, I've just got to be busy. And then I'm just busy at home now and I don't have connection. So I think that's the cycle a lot of times we can fall into.
Stephen, that was a great point you made there, because I had to, years of working, I had to learn the difference between busy work and purposeful work. Work that drives the company to its goals, to its fulfillment, instead of busy. You can be busy doing a lot of things that burn you out and you burn out. And it's almost like a treadmill. You're running as best you can, you're breaking sweat, but you're in the same place. You're not moving. You can lose calories. You can burn off some fat, but that's all you're doing. You're not making any strides forward. You're just spinning. And so I've learned over the years to be intentional of what I put on my calendar of things to do that makes sense. And at the end of the day, what was the purpose of me doing this? What is the purpose of me having an interview with a business owner? What is the purpose of me going to a chamber breakfast? What is the purpose of me coming into my 9 to 5 every day, sitting behind a computer? What is the purpose for that? And so I can be busy all day. I can go home, find plenty of a lot of yard work to do. My honey to-do list grows and grows and grows and grows. So I got plenty of busy work. I don't need to do that at work. I don't need to do that. I got all of that at home. And that purpose is to please my wife. Happy life.
I'm with you.
But I'm glad you clarified the burnout as being that vicious cycle that we're on, and we end up going nowhere.
Exactly.
But we've just been busy.
Yep, exactly.
My mom used to tell me, she says, "Oh, you're just busy being busy."
Yeah, exactly.
There's no purpose. You're just busy being busy. I never understood that until I saw myself being busy just to be busy.
Sure. Yep. Very, very accurate.
How can employers reduce their employees' burnout? What are some of the suggestions you have?
Sure. So number one is it's very straightforward. And, a lot of these conversations don't have to be overly complex, Johnny. The first thing that I would suggest to any CEO, any manager, anyone looking to connect with their team members more, even if you have one team member, is have a one-on-one meeting with them. Now, when I say that, I'm sure a lot of people are, oh, well, one-on-one meetings are boring, or I have a quarterly review and I'm worried about getting fired. That's not a one-on-one meeting. That's a review. What I'm saying is have a one-on-one personal conversation with your team members. Now, what does that look like? I literally have had conversations with team members where I ask, and this is going to sound so funny, but I ask, hey, could you tell me how to correctly pronounce your name? Your first name. My name is Steven, spelled with a PH. So I get called Stefan all the time. So I knew growing up, I'm like, oh, my name's Steven, right? Or if people say they spell with a V, I respect it. But I know that when someone has taken the time to, hey, how do you spell your name? I'm like, oh, wow, they care. So I've literally had conversations that are that straightforward. Hey, how do you pronounce your name? And that person came back to me, Johnny, saying, Steve, I told my entire family that you asked how I pronounce my name. Nobody in my life has ever done that for me. And that just something that simple completely changed that person's trajectory. They cared so much more about anything I asked them to do because they know I care. Something that simple. So have a meeting. Take the time, put the numbers away, put the processes away, and just get to know your people. Just get to know, hey, do you have a family? What are some of the things you like? Do you like to work out? Do you like to hike? What do you like as music? What do you like as movies? Like things that are just people to people connections. Just get back connected with your people, because your people will only care when they know that you care. It's that simple. So that would be the one and biggest tip that I would give, is take time. And anybody that's hearing this, Steve, I have so many team members, I don't have the time. We do have the time. We always have the time. And as a leader, as a navigator, you should be creating intentional time with your team for that. If not, you can bet at some point that team member's either going to start to get a little burnt out, a little detached, and at one point may leave because they may feel like the grass is greener in the other company and that they might care a little bit more about them. So make sure that you're caring about your people. And that is one of the fastest ways to either stop burnout or to reduce the burnout. And I promise you, in those conversations, when your team members start to realize that you're a human being just like them, you're not a robot. And again, I've been a fault of that you're not a robot, they will open up to you more. They will tell you maybe what's inefficient for them in their workday, what is burning them out. And you will have all the answers you need to make it more efficient, effective of a workplace for them, therefore increasing their engagement, therefore increasing their care, therefore increasing their productivity. So that's what I would suggest.
Wow, Stephen, you know, it's so funny you say that, because the number one reason why people leave their job is not for the pay.
Exactly.
Ineffective leadership.
Exactly.
Ineffective leadership. I remember my third supervisor role at a certain call center. People would ask, why does your team perform so well? Well, you're outselling the sales team. That doesn't make sense. Why are you doing that? There's a period in time when when you said their name, I have done that.
Yeah.
It works, Stephen.
It works.
It works. It works.
Yes.
I'm here to tell you it works. I invested in them. I had them come to my office and I said, they says, is this a review? I says, yeah, but it's a different review. I took the paper, turned it down.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you. What? First of all, is this how your name is spelled everywhere? Should I spell it like this? Or do you have a nickname that you would love me to call you by better than this one?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, no one, and I heard that. But then again, I didn't ask the typical question, where you see yourself in 5 years. I didn't ask that. I asked, when you're not here, what do you like to do?
Yeah.
Do you have any kids?
Right.
Where are you originally from? And it was so phenomenal. So when you said that, it clicked with me. I totally got it. So thank you for saying that. You let me know that I was on the right track.
You're on the right track.
I didn't know I was.
You were on the right track for sure.
But it makes such a difference in even the environment and the climate. What I did there sometime was for them, and being in a call center, everybody can know, it can be a very hectic lifestyle.
Yeah.
I would have a period where I tell them, okay, everyone disconnect from the phone.
Yeah.
Everyone. When you finish your customer, connect from the phone.
Right.
I want everybody to take your headsets off and do what you do to relax you. You have 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
Do that. And they were like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Take 15 minutes. Do that.
Yeah.
So those are kind of things I did. So thank you so much for for the purpose program. I can go on and on about this because I know the real effectiveness of people feeling valued, a part of the process.
Yes.
And people love affirmation.
Yep.
We thrive on affirmation.
Yep.
To know that you're doing a great job.
Right.
You're part of the team.
Right.
And we want to make you feel that way. So that's great. I love that. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing when people, there's all kinds of love languages, but in the office, when people know that, hey, I really appreciate you, the way you got that report done, even again, just simple communication solves all problems. So when you tell people how you actually feel in a positive way, in an empowering way, they will take that and run with it, because people have never been appreciated typically in a corporate environment. And the companies that we see succeeding through any type of economy, they actually care. That's it. That's the formula.
Yeah, that is true. You mentioned you have tools.
Yes.
And I was on your website and I saw some of those tools. And I'm so anxious for you to share them with
Sure.
our listening audience. What are those tools?
Sure. So the reason we created tools was when we first started Purpose, it was, like I said, the pandemic hit, my wife was pregnant, my father was passing away, and I had to figure out what my purpose was. And so there was a whole list of questions that my wife and I were going through, and I was just it was giving me clarity personally as to, okay, what am I going through right now? And it helped me get out of my head and onto paper. And so we took those questions that I was asking myself and my wife was asking me, and we wrote them down and built them into a tool that we would give our clients and say, hey, again, we're not life coaches, but try this out. These are the questions that I literally had to ask myself. It gave me clarity. I think they'll give you clarity in your life as well. So what am I good at? What do I enjoy? What do I want out of life? What are my internal and external limitations? When was and what was the last thing that I did in my life that really fired me up, that I felt so excited about? What was that? So often, again, we're so detached from those types of things. So the first step sheet, which is what we built, helps people gain the first steps on where they are. And so from there, Johnny, as we worked with more and more companies, well, at a scale, companies need different onboarding and hiring processes, but companies still need, and people at a personal level still need, if you're dealing with anxiety or negative recurring thoughts, how do you break that cycle? How do you empower yourself? How do you take that control? So we built out over 40 of these tools on personal and professional development that really empower individuals to gain back the control that they have in themselves. They have all these tools in themselves, but we're just here to shine a flashlight on them. So they go from, like I said, gaining clarity, breaking anxiety, to understanding, what a squat is, not just the workout, but a squat meaning pick 3 role models and what are the similarities you have to them? What are the questions you would ask them right now? What's the unique ability that you have they want to learn from you? What are the actions that you have taken to be more aligned with them? And then what are the trials and tribulations you've been through? So taking the word squat and breaking out. And these are processes that we slow down and work through. People at the end of the day, wow, I'm actually so much more like my role models than I've ever given myself credit for. And that empowers me. I can do more. Your PPH. Johnny, what is your personal positive history? I ask people to give me 5 things in their life where they were the direct catalyst for a great outcome. Could be something small, could be something huge, but it gets people to give themselves the credit they deserve and to then empower them and say, wow, you know what? Whatever I'm going through right now, I've done these things before. I've been through these things. I am a great person, and people should know that they're great people, and I can do more. But what do I want to do? What fulfills me? Don't be busy, like you were saying. Let's get productive. So let's align it. So these tools cover all different aspects, and they are literally things that we've built, Johnny, from hearing and seeing an authentic need, right? And we just built them, given, hey, try this out. Let us know how it works. We'll adapt it where it's needed. So that's really what we do and how we provide those tools.
Stephen, that is so awesome. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, wow, I need to borrow some of those tools. The reason why is because I meet so many business owners in my position at the city here that you can see the discouragement in them. The business is not doing well.
Right.
Their hopes and even coming back from a pandemic, it's like almost none. There's no hope. They're in that stage.
Yes.
And I want to say to them so bad, like, okay, wait a minute. I think you're impacting your inner feelings of yourself onto your business, and you can't do that. So you need to start again with you. This is about you, because you're the representation of your company. If I'm seeing you like this, I don't think I want to do business with you.
You're right.
I mean, it may not be a partnership that's going to be long lasting. Right. If you're feeling this way now, how do I know I'm going to have a partner next month?
Exactly. You're exactly right. And to your point, it's tough seeing people in those positions because, again, we've never been taught that, hey, when the going gets tough, it's okay to keep going, but how do you want to do that? And how, like you're saying, how you still need to love yourself. You still need to care. I don't care what the bank account says or doesn't say. That's not what your self-worth is tied to. It has to come back to, have you done the best you can? What are your values? What are your morals? Have you lived those to the fullest? Yes. Okay. Like, give yourself a break. Let's keep moving. So I agree with you.
Yeah. Of course, everybody knows I'm a minister. I preached a sermon in the car, and it was entitled, I'm Not Okay.
Yeah.
And I ended with saying, it's okay not to be okay.
It is.
But once you recognize you're not okay, let's fix it.
Exactly.
because it is salvageable. Because your purpose is still there. You just maybe
Yeah.
buried it so deep that you forgot you even had it. But
It-
and I like how you said you draw back the layers.
right.
You take away all those layers
Right.
and take away all those defense mechanisms that we automatically put up.
Yes.
Just tear them down and
Yeah.
let's become transparent and
Exactly.
look at who we really are and
Exactly.
just deal with that. I love that so much. I love that.
I'm going to sound a little crass here, but we literally call it, and we teach people how to have naked conversations. Everybody's clothes stay on, but what that means is just let's put it all out on the table. Let's be as honest and vulnerable as we can, because that's how you can actually move on, like you're saying.
Wow,
Yep.
that's awesome. That is awesome. Okay, and when you created these tools, were they based on some of your experiences?
Yes. Yeah, they were, especially when we started. It was what I had just been through, and those were all my personal experiences. And again, those are the questions that helped me. And then on a company level, those are all things I had seen from my corporate background as well as the real estate background, and then also just asking questions to companies. What are you struggling with? What would you want? What would be the thing that would help your teams right now? Oh, well, I think it might be this or that. Okay, great. So I just try to get as much feedback as I can and say, what would help? What would help me in that position? What did I wish I had back when I had anxiety and all those things? And so we just develop the tools out of the need and then put them in the marketplace and go from there.
Awesome, awesome. One last question for you,
Sure.
Stephen, because I'm enjoying this conversation.
Sure.
I understand that I understand that your company is federally connected.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Sure. So we're a federally contracted company. And the reason being is one of our departments is a military department. And what I mean by that is we really are honored to serve veterans who have served us as they transition out of the military into civilian life to help them find purpose post their military career. And so in order to work with, the U.S. Army or organizations like that, you typically need to be federally contracted and have gone through that process. So we were working on holding a seminar for the U.S. Army. And so for that process to get the approvals and whatnot, you have to go through a federal contracting process. And so that's why we did it and how we did it.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. I like that because our veterans, they do so much for us.
Yep.
They stand on the wall that most of us don't want to stand on. and they guard it every single day.
Yep.
So hats off to them. And I'm glad that your company was built and part of the purpose plan was that.
Yes.
They were included in that purpose plan. I'm so glad for that.
Yes.
I'm so glad. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank them. They're my heroes. So
yes. All right. Well, Stephen, I just want to thank you for today, for coming in and having this interview with us. It has really, really been an eye-opening experience for me. I'm on cloud nine because the word purpose alone just make me just want to say yes. That's what we need, more purpose. Yeah. So thank you for that. For sharing valuable information that businesses and organizations can glean from, and perhaps find a way to connect with you.
Sure.
That you can help their companies become better. Yeah. And go through a sustainability process where their employees won't have a lot of revolving doors in their company. The turnover are lessened because their employees want to stay.
Right.
So that's good. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Of course. No, thank you, Johnny. I appreciate the time. It's been a pleasure.
We're going to, when we post this video on our social platforms, we're going to have your information there that people can contact you with, your phone number, the direct phone number they can reach you on, your email, your website. Your website is absolutely great. And it has all the information anybody would ever need to contact you on. So that's a really good thing to have too. We're going to make sure that's all posted so people can get in contact with you. Okay.
Thank you, Johnny. I really appreciate that.
No problem. Announcements again for all our viewers out there. Please follow the City of Miramar's LinkedIn page where you will find up-to-date information about how we are connecting with our community at large. Also, the Economic Development and Revitalization Department is celebrating Economic Development Week as we partner with International Economic Development Council. So look for those ads as well. Business owners, please register for the City of Miramar's Business Pulse. It is our newsletter. It keeps you up to date with everything the city is doing. It also brings you into connect people such as purpose, We will have them on that and make sure that you can reach out to them as well if you have any issues, any problems with your business, of having clarity of purpose. Again, this is Johnny Douglas. Until next time, we ask you to stay connected. Okay, very, very good. I know you have to go, but I really, really enjoyed that.
As well.
It was worth the wait. It was really worth
it. Well, thank you, Johnny. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure to connect with you, and I would love to discuss further, how we can serve and all that you're doing in Miramar and other companies, and like you said, just in the business development world, I'm here to serve.
Right. I think I would love to. Let me stop the recording.